here. Helms is here. All right. All right.
John, I'm recording this. I need everyone, at least folks who are here right now, to know that I'm recording. And if you don't want your face recorded, you should turn off your camera right now.
But if you want to leave it on, it's more social.
Yes, we recommend you leave it on, but we understand if you choose not to.
Yeah, yeah. We won't use it against you in court.
May I interject something?
All right.
My wife, who's a teacher also, and she's working behind me in here in the little office, she said Pittsburgh schools are closed down now with no attempt to teach kids.
Wow.
My student's dad is a teacher there, so they just shut down.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I hope we keep going. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm really open to how we spend this half hour. I would say, like, right from the top, you know, thanks for being here. I want to say that. Thanks for doing whatever level of teaching you're able to do. So I know people have a million things going on. I know you got, you know, some of us have kids, some of us have illnesses, stuff that we can't even share. So whatever is going on in your life, you should know that it's okay. And whatever you're able to do is great. You may not reach every kid, but even if you reach a few, that's still great. The quality may not be what we want. That's okay. We may screw up, and that's okay. Just want you to know, like, I want to affirm what you're doing and thank you for what you're doing, because it's still really valuable. I really think what we're doing has value for now and for the long term as well. So thanks for the thumbs up there. If you have a question while I'm talking, you can feel free to put it in the chat, or there's only a few of us here really as well. So it's not going to be overwhelming if you just chime in with questions as well. So we have middle school here and high school here. So I'll just say really briefly, whatever you're doing is fine. These are not directives, but I'm just, I wanted to make sure everybody knows the options that we have. For middle school and for high school, I'm going to show you CK12 really quick. If you haven't seen CK12, I'm going to give you just a quick overview of what they offer and what's there. So I'll start presenting here, and I'll present a window. And here is CK12. And give me a thumbs up if you can see CK12 there. Okay, great. All right, so CK12 is free. It has always been and always will be free. And it's sort of an online textbook plus. It's integrated with Google Classroom, so super easy to go from here. So you can sign in using your district account, and it will save stuff. You can create your own textbook. You can create your own series or whatever. But for now, even if you haven't done that, you can go here to subjects. And subjects, lots of math and science from K to 12 really, and a few other things as well. But for us, here are the middle school is earth science, life science, physical science. I accidentally clicked on earth science, but that's fine. We'll just keep going. Now this stuff is not based on California standards, all right? It's just topical. So if I'm doing, maybe this is a bad example, but if I'm teaching middle school and I want an earth science topic, then here are topics. It doesn't follow any kind of framework or anything. But here's whatever. I click on weather, and it'll give me a bunch. This is like a chapter, and then it'll give me all of these, you know, all these little mini readings. So this is super simple, okay? It does go to videos and stories as well, but this is the sort of the textbook portion of it. It's just a textbook. All right, it's not going to have labs, nothing like that. Here's the text. So you can see it. So textbook, but it does include videos, which is cool. It does have vocabulary words and glossary, things like that. And then it also has these little like formative assessments integrated in that kids have to get to. So I will show you that just really quick. It just makes sure that they're paying attention while they're reading. All right. Whatever. Blank fog occurs when cool air moves over a warm lake. I don't know. C? No. A? Check it. Great. All right. Anyway, it lets you do that. And you can see the assign button right at the top. Sorry, guys. Hey, there's new people. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is CK12. It's free. I'll put the link in the chat here, but it's just ck12.org. That's the link. And you see the assign button here, and this will go right to Google Classroom as well. All right, super easy. And that's available for all the grades. Then if you are in middle school, we were headed toward an adoption for Amplify. So we also have login credentials for Amplify. Digital materials only, of course. But if you are a middle school teacher, and I see several of you here, I can send you the login information for Amplify, and you have access to the full curriculum. So all of their articles, it starts out with like a phenomena that the students wonder about, and it ties all the way through the unit. Same thing, you can push that out, you can connect it with Google Classroom, and so on. And it is in Clever as well. So Amplify is there. And just so you know, we were about to recommend that to the board at the very last board meeting. We got tabled to the next week, and then everything disappeared. So that amplifies the direction we're headed, but it's not officially board adopted yet for middle school. And I'm happy to walk anybody through that. We're not going to do it here, but if anybody wants to look at that together, I'm happy to do that as well.
John, there's a question about CK12 answers. If you assign it through Google Classroom, can you see if the students answered the questions?
On that preview, I don't know. We could test that out and see. I don't have a class to know that. There are several CK12 online tutorials as well, and those are both recorded, and I think they're still holding them that you can attend. But there are other things that integrate as well. I hope it works, or I hope there's some sort of assessment that you can get from Google Classroom. Also, I know that there's a couple in high school here. Remember, we have STEM scopes for physics of the universe and chemistry and physics. If you're new to that, I can walk you through that, but I'm not going to show you all of that here as well. What else is there? Jeff says CK12 is aligned with NGSS. You can, there are teacher-made textbooks on CK12 that align with California. You can search that up, and everybody has made their own collections, as you can do as well, from CK12. And so in that way, it does align more with NGSS. That's a claim that CK12 makes. I think that NGSS is far more, robust than just a digital textbook. So I have mixed feelings about that. But yes, you can align the topics. That's the the DCIs. You can align the DCIs with CK12. That's absolutely true. There are simulations, but I see that Brett is saying they're pretty much non-existent for middle school. They are around, but they're not complete. They're not everywhere. And if Brett has looked, I believe that as well. Brett says you must be logged into CK12. Brett, have you used CK12 with your students? You want to unmute and chime in here?
Yeah, I am using CK12 with my students, and I am also using Amplify. So there's not a direct correlation between lessons, but when a student is struggling with a concept in an Amplify lesson, I am assigning them work through CK12 that kind of fleshes out the ideas that they are not getting. And so what I've been doing is assigning a single section of a CK12 chapter for a day. And I expect the students to take the quiz, because then you can literally track how many questions they had to answer to attain what CK12 calls mastery.
Right.
And then at the bottom of every lesson, there's like a 4 or 5 question roundup that I actually copy and paste that directly into the Google Classroom. I let the students make a doc, answer those questions, and then on the next day, when I do my office hours, we have like a 10 or 15-minute discussion just about those questions. And it's so not every student is doing it, but the students that are doing it, it's definitely worthwhile, is what I'm going to say. Cool. So that's what it's looking like right now. I'm going to go ahead and back mute myself here.
Cool. I don't have more in terms of presentation planned, but I can show more. But I don't want to go too far in one direction toward high school because we have middle school here. Does anybody want to share what you're doing, maybe, with the group?
Yeah, hi, John. I actually had a question. So I'm a middle school teacher, and I was wondering, is there anything new when it comes to sex ed? Like, I'm assuming when we come back, we just gotta like go through the rest of sex ed. But I was wondering if there was anything to update about that, or should I just go with what I had to plan?
Yeah, to be totally honest, that's something that I know a lot of people were either putting off or saving. You could try to create something digital, but we don't, I imagine you could push some of those things out. Did we send you that stuff digitally, the resources?
I got the training last year, and they gave us a physical binder, and also they told us it was available online. So I have online access to all of that, but I'm probably gonna do like, when we come back, we'll do like maybe 2 lessons a week to finish it out, because I want them to get the whole curriculum.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even, at this point, we were talking about this earlier, but I'm not even sure we should count on being back. Are you guys still looking at my screen, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me just see what's on the science webpage here. And I think you probably have to be logged in. Am I not logged in? I'm not logged in. So you have to sign in.
What other people are doing just to get other ideas.
Yeah, go ahead. While I'm doing this, can somebody else share what your what's going on with how's your week looking?
Because what I'm doing is just recording using Google Meet, making a recorded lesson and attaching that in Google Classroom with other things they need to do the assignment. And then I'm just sitting here answering questions as they go. Not all the time, but.
So are you you're doing a screen recording and then you have office hours as well?
I haven't done any office hours yet. I asked the kids if they wanted them and I need to start that. I don't know how often I should do it. Some kids said one teacher at our school is doing it once a week. I just have to set up a Google Meet with a code and give them the code so they can come in.
Yeah,
I want to do that.
And does anybody know the parameters for secondary from the new MOU?
I read them, but I don't remember what they are specifically.
I can try to pull it up.
There's some sort of recommendation in terms of making contact with your students.
There was a question about grading, or no, wasn't. Can you talk about ideas for grading in line with district distance learning guidelines?
Yeah, does somebody want to share what you're doing around grading?
I thought we weren't. I know that report cards are Friday and we go just to the 13th of March. But after that, I haven't heard anything about grading or read anything.
Yeah, there was something that came out last night as well. I think we're going to still, the intent is that we'll try to give grades for something, but please jump in and tell us what you're doing.
So grades are not allowed to count past March 13th, or I guess what I should say is we're not allowed to assign point values to any assignments after March 13th unless it was assigned previously to that date. So I had some reports and book reports and some science write-ups that were due after spring break that they're still expected to turn those in, and I am going to grade them. Those are some of like the final assessment pieces, I guess, now. But I'm still entering information into the grade book, but I'm entering it as information only, and I'm using a literally like kind of a pass fit or meets, exceeds, or needs improvement mark, basically. No points, no actual letter grade, because there's no better option at this point. But at least the parents are wanting to see, is my student even doing the work? And so that's what I'm trying to work on right now, is just that communication and keeping the parents in the loop. And so I have students that were not doing very much before that are actually checking in on a daily basis and trying to get things done.
Cool. Ty and anybody else, if you want to use the online stuff, is on the district webpage, or you can go straight to 3Rs if the district webpage is not working for you.
Yeah, no, I'm still trying to wrap my head around, like, so we're thinking that it's likely we're not gonna come back for this year, for the rest of this year. Is that, I just want to make sure I'm on the same track as that, because I was like, wait, I thought we were gonna come back May 4th.
Yeah, so that's the current earliest, but there was messaging last night from the state superintendent and the governor that said, like, the direction we're headed is not being back at all. That's not a directive yet, but that is the latest word. But I wouldn't, I guess what I would say is I wouldn't count on us being back this year. Yeah, and we were just talking about even the social distancing and the shelter in place parameters are tightening even further. Anybody else have questions or want to share what you've been doing in terms of your weekly routine and or grading?
Who's doing office hours?
Harrison, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah.
Thanks. I've been starting to try and make learning playlists, kind of like hyperdocs assignments. And I think my plan is to do weekly assignments that have, like a 30-minute chunks each day with reading or video or simulation, and each of them has a sort of formative assessment at the end. And my idea with grading would be to do a combination grade of completion and mastery. Um, I think I'm going to include like objective statements about what students should be able to do at the end of the week, and potentially a rubric of what I'll be looking for in their answers to sort of like open-ended formative assessment questions. I'm hoping to set up office hours, I think weekly or maybe daily, and still trying to think about best practices for grading.
Cool, thanks. The other thing I don't want to forget to mention is I really think this is, you know, a lot of us don't have time to do science fair or an investigation during the school year, but right now everybody's at home, everybody's got time. Could be reasonable to assign something like that to an individual investigation. Remember that our standards are not just content anymore. Remember, our standards, a third of our standards are actually practices. So students can you know, be working on understanding those science and engineering practices as well. And I know the science fair, you know, can seem dated or hokey, but really understanding what the scientific method is and the science and engineering practices are, even just, you know, creating sets of data, analyzing data, using evidence to create an argument from that data, that's a skill that we want all of our kids to have, right? So, you know, forget about, we don't need to be making trifolds, you know, unless you want to, but now is a great time to do just an individual investigation at home as well. Like, you know, what rolls down the ramp the fastest, you know, anything like that where their students are creating sets of data and analyzing that data is good. It's good practice for our kids. Hi, Alvin. Anybody else want to share out what's going on? Alvin, we're just sharing out what we're doing in terms of routine, checking in with kids and grading if anybody else wants to share. Great, and some people are, I see that the sex ed discussion has gone on a little bit further in the chat here. So in terms of the directive that every kid needs to get sex ed, I'm not going to, we can't like legally release you from doing that, but I understand that's going to be messy, and so much of sex ed has to do with like discussion and asking questions and having a safe space and things like that. And this may not be the best forum for that, other than like direct content instruction. There's so much more than that. So. Anybody else have questions or comments or want to share? Leslie said, Ariana, Ariana says, is the legal directive that sex ed take place during a specific school year? The language in ed code says once in high school. So we have been keeping track of that as best we can. It's different at every school, but most schools have been doing it during 9th grade in biology for a couple of reasons. Because sex ed is biology in a lot of ways, and also the sooner the students get that information, the better. So we've been trying to do it in 9th grade biology, but not every site is doing biology in 9th grade. So that's been a site decision. And that's from ed code, once in middle school and once in high school. Is there, Harrison, is there any information on sexual health from the district, county, and state that we can share with students? Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. You know, there was, let me look for that, Harrison, actually, because I did blow past an email from the county. So let me see if I can find something about that. Specific direction on how to take attendance, I don't know about that as well. That would be a union question. I think, Ariana, your site will probably go over that at some point. Because that is going to be tricky. All right, guys. I'm happy to stay longer if you have other questions about whatever. Otherwise,
are you planning on doing this once a week?
We haven't made any plans for that, but I am happy to do that.
Okay.
I won't be here. Sorry, I won't be going anywhere next week, but there isn't school next week.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but my plans aren't changing much.
I think it'd be helpful to do a